Monday's episode of Days of Our Lives may not begin with a massive explosion, but do not mistake that for calm. Because on May 18, Salem is dealing with something even more dangerous than open conflict. People pretending they are fine when they are clearly not. This is not just an episode about secrets. It is about pressure. And in Salem, pressure rarely stays hidden for long. So let's break down what could make Monday's episode far more important than it first appears. Kristen turning to Xander is never a casual move. When Kristen DeMera approaches someone with a proposal, it usually means she has already calculated the danger, the leverage, and the damage. She is not looking for simple help. She is looking for someone who can operate in the gray areas, someone willing to cross lines most people would never touch. And that is exactly why Xander is such a tempting target. Kristen knows his history. She knows he has done terrible things before. She knows there was a time when Xander could be manipulated through money, revenge, pride, or the need to feel powerful. But the real question now is whether that version of Xander still exists. Because Xander has more to lose than he once did. Sarah and Victoria have changed the emotional stakes around him. He is no longer just a reckless man chasing the next dangerous deal. He is a father. He is trying to hold on to a future that could finally make him feel human instead of disposable. That makes Kristen's proposal more than just a plot twist. It becomes a test. If Xander accepts, he risks proving that he has not changed as much as he wants everyone to believe. If he refuses, he could make an enemy out of Kristen, and Kristen is not someone who takes rejection quietly. The danger here is not only what Kristen is asking him to do. The real danger is what Xander might become again if he says yes. Brady going out of his way for Sarah sounds like a kind gesture on the surface, but in Salem, timing is everything. Sarah is vulnerable right now. Her life has been pulled through emotional chaos, family pressure, and the constant instability that comes with loving someone like Xander. So when Brady steps in, it may feel like a moment of support she genuinely needs. Brady has a way of showing up when people are struggling. He may not always make perfect choices in his own life, but he understands damage. He understands complicated love, and he understands what it means to try to protect someone who is caught in a painful situation. That could make his support feel comforting to Sarah, but it could look very different to Xander. Xander is already under pressure from Kristen's proposal. He may be trying to prove he is not the same impulsive man he used to be, but insecurity has always been one of his weakest spots. Seeing Brady become useful, steady, and emotionally present for Sarah could hit Xander in exactly the wrong place. This is where the storyline becomes interesting. Brady may not be trying to interfere. Sarah may not be looking for anything romantic. But Xander could still read the situation through fear instead of logic. And once Xander starts feeling replaced, judged, or pushed aside, he does not always respond carefully. So Brady's good deed may not be the beginning of a love triangle. It may be the spark that exposes how fragile Xander and Sarah's trust still is. Gwen venting to Leo may bring humor, attitude, and sharp dialogue, but underneath the surface, this is not a light storyline. Gwen knows exactly what Xander is capable of. She knows he can be charming when he needs something. She knows he can make a woman feel chosen 1 minute and used the next. The painful part is that Gwen may recognize the pattern and still struggle to pull herself away from it. That is what makes her scenes with Leo important. Leo is not just there to listen. He may be the one person who can call out the truth without making it sound like a lecture. He understands messy desire. He understands wanting someone who may not be good for you. And because of that, he can see Gwen's situation with unusual clarity. Gwen may frame her frustration as anger at Xander, but the deeper wound is more personal. She does not only want attention. She wants proof that she matters. She wants to believe that Xander's interest in her is not just convenience, not just manipulation, not just another emotional transaction where she gives more than she receives. But that hope is dangerous. Because if Xander is using her, then Gwen is not just risking embarrassment. She is risking another emotional collapse built around the same old fear, that she is only wanted when someone needs something from her. Leo may try to warn her. He may even push her to see the situation for what it really is. But Gwen's real conflict is not whether she understands the truth. It is whether she is ready to choose herself before Xander disappoints her again. Stephanie's hard truth to Alex may become one of the quietest but most damaging moments of the episode. This is not the kind of confession built around betrayal or scandal. It is more painful because it comes from honesty. Stephanie is not trying to hurt Alex. She may simply be admitting what she can no longer pretend away. Alex's life is changing fast because of baby Kelsey. Every day he spends with the child seems to pull him deeper into fatherhood. He is no longer just reacting to the situation. He is bonding. He is imagining a future. He is discovering a version of himself that feels responsible, protective, and emotionally invested. For Alex, Kelsey may no longer feel like a sudden complication. She may feel like purpose. But Stephanie is not standing in the same place emotionally. She is still carrying the weight of her kidnapping trauma. Her sense of safety has already been shaken, and now she is being asked, maybe not directly, but emotionally, to accept a life that includes a baby, permanent responsibility, and a future she may never have wanted. Stephanie can love Alex and still feel overwhelmed by what his life has become. Alex can love Stephanie and still refuse to distance himself from his child. Neither side is cruel, neither side is wrong, but they may be moving toward futures that no longer fit together. Because once Stephanie says the truth out loud, Alex cannot unhear it. He may understand her pain, but he also has to ask himself whether he can build a future with someone who may never fully accept the most important part of his life now. But it could be the moment both of them realize love is not always enough when the future starts pulling two people in opposite directions. Chanel trying to downplay her biopsy gives Monday's episode a deeply emotional layer. On the outside, she may act like everything is under control. She may tell Paulina it is routine, manageable, nothing to panic over. But that calmness is not the same as peace. It is a performance. Chanel is scared. The biopsy may turn out to be nothing serious, but the uncertainty alone is enough to shake her. Waiting for answers can be its own kind of pressure. Every possibility becomes louder. Every reassuring word starts to feel fragile. And Chanel, instead of leaning on her mother, chooses to protect her. Chanel knows Paulina is already carrying her own emotional battles. She does not want to add more fear to her mother's life. So she does what many daughters do when they are trying to be strong for the people they love. She makes the problem smaller than it really feels. But Paulina is not easy to fool. She may be dramatic, loud, and intense, but when it comes to Chanel, her instincts are sharp. She can hear what Chanel is not saying. She can sense when a smile is covering panic. And if Chanel pushes too hard to sound casual, Paulina may become even more worried. That is what makes this scene so powerful. Chanel's silence is not coldness. It is love mixed with fear. She is trying to spare Paulina pain, but she may only end up isolating herself at the exact moment she needs support the most. And sooner or later, Paulina may force the truth into the open. Because a mother can handle bad news. What she may not be able to handle is realizing her daughter was terrified and felt she had to face it alone. By the end of Monday's episode, Salem may not have all the answers yet. But the warning signs are everywhere. Kristen's proposal could drag Xander toward a dangerous choice. Brady's support for Sarah could create unexpected tension. Gwen may be fooling herself about Xander. Stephanie and Alex may be facing a truth love alone cannot fix. And Chanel's attempt to hide her fear could make her medical crisis even more heartbreaking. That is what makes May 18th feel like a setup episode with real power. The biggest shock may not be what happens immediately. It may be what these characters choose to hide, and how quickly those hidden fears start controlling everything around them. So the real question is this: which secret breaks first? And when it does, who in Salem will be strong enough to face the consequences?